Hello everyone, and thanks very much for joining me. I'm Dean the Vaping Biker, and this is what we're looking at today. Not the funky little squonker, that's coming next week, but what we will be looking at is this little RDA at the top here. This is something that I found in at Expo recently, a few weeks ago, and I've got to say, I'm really loving it. It looks like it's a pricey bit of kit because of the Ultem, but it's actually really affordable. Now, the airflow is a bit funky, and I'll tell you about that when we go in the up close, but all in all, I think this is a little diamond, and it's coming in on the Bombertech website at $50. So I don't know how much it's coming across to the UK for. I can't remember the reseller in the UK, and Google isn't coming up with any positive results for me at the moment. But for something that is a dinky little tiny kind of squonk available, or squonk ready atomizer that looks like this and performs like this, I'm all for it. So let's dive down and we'll have a little look up close before I come back and give you my final thoughts. Let's do that. Come on then, come on. Alrighty, so here we are up close with the Firefly RDA. This is the packaging. I've popped it all back in the box so you can have a little look at it. This is hopefully that'll come out underneath there so you can have a little read and see what that all says. It's come out of Hong Kong, I believe, on this one. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it does. All in all, I think the packaging is entirely reasonable. It's what it is. But look at that, look. Squonk mode ready. Dun dun dun. So let's take that bad boy out of here. Under here we've got a little bag of spares. Let's get that focused in. Super dance. Little bag of spares there. That's got the regular copper 510 going on there because I've got mine in squonk mode. You've got a couple of extra post screws and a bunch of O-rings as well. Now inside the pack, this is what we've got to deal with. Obviously, don't vape the silica gel. That would be a bad thing. We've got the RDA itself, and we also have in here a couple of drip tips, for want of a better word, if you do want to use them. But these are kind of quite short and squat little puppies. Focus, there we go. Quite short and squat little puppies that do offer a little bit on the end of the cap there, but not a massive amount. I know some people do like them. What they do also do though is, because it's obviously a lot smaller internal bore than we've got without it, it does reduce that bore a little bit. So if that's the sort of thing that tickles your taste buds, then away you go. But this is the RDA in its entirety, and look how little and dinky this is. I'm trying to think of what I can show it to you against to kind of give you an idea. If I pop it up against the Freak Show, something like that, you can see how much smaller the chamber is. It's tiny by comparison, and I really think it's very cute because of that. It's 22mm in diameter. I think that's possibly why we've got the 22 there in the corner. We've got Firefly by Bombertech up there, bunch of stuff there, and the logo at the bottom. You can see that I have got the copper squonk pin in there already. Because it is copper, I would say that to make sure that you do keep on top of the cleaning of that, and you don't leave it for periods of time with juice kind of built up inside there. But as it is on the outside, I think this PEI cap, which is also referred to as Ultem, I believe, is nice and simple and straightforward. This kind of domed area here, or slanted area here, means that your lips are nice over the top of there, and that does also help the flavour on the inside. The only thing I'm not overly fussed about is the Bombertech logo next to the mouthpiece there. I don't think it does anything particularly for the aesthetics of the piece, but also it's just a little bit funky, really. But let's have a little takeaway here. Now you've got the Firefly kind of in the deck there. 2 O-rings. You can see that I managed to take the cap off without any too much issue, but it does offer enough resistance to stay on there without any problems whatsoever. So I'm happy with the tightness of those O-rings. Now, one of the things that you will notice here, you've got this little square, and it's a little kind of, you can see it's kind of a stepped in square, oblong if you like, on the inside just around here. And what happens there is that goes over the top of this little nubbin that pokes out of the outside of each of the posts, and that means that when you do pop these in here, it's really difficult when it's not on a mod. Let me just get a mod so I can pop that on there. 2 seconds. popping it on the little M-Vape squonker that's going to be coming shortly. You can see that the little nubbin is in there. Now if I move the top cap, oh, I haven't juiced up the O-ring since I've cleaned it for the review. If I move the top cap, you'll see that the airflow obviously at the bottom there moves open and closed, but at the same time it has a stopper, so I can now quite happily unscrew it or tighten it up onto the RDA without any issues. And I think that's just a really nice touch, to be honest with you. Now then, let's take this big bad boy off here again. Undo that. Now I've left the coil in. This is the last coil that I've been using in here, and the reason I've left it in there is just to show you how I've been positioning it. Now you'll see that the coil itself is positioned over the top of the squonk holes, so the cotton does come out when you do put it down here. And that is a deep little deck in there, by the way. You do want to make sure that your cotton doesn't kind of block this hole. That's where the juice is going to come out if you're going to use it in squonk mode. So make sure you're not blocked there and that the juice can go down in there quite happily. Now let's give this a little bit of a measure, because bearing in mind how small this RDA is, it's quite surprising how much space there is in the bottom of that. Now if I put the old measurement there, that's coming through at nearly 8 mil deep, which is a monster on such a tiny little RDA. So you can choose either to pack a buttload of cotton in there, or have your cotton tails dangling down in there, a little bit on the base there, and then you can squonk your little heart out and everyone's a winner. So yeah, that's how that goes. Now the airflow comes in at the sides here, and then comes out of this area here. So I guess you could actually just build with your with a little coil coming out there, although you would have one long leg, if you like, and only one tail going into the deck. Personally, I prefer to have both tails going into the deck, so it keeps up with all the squonking going on, and keeps up wicking. Now I thought initially this was going to be quite the problem, because with air coming up here, it's not directly touching the coil. So you know, how's that going to work? Now I think what's happening is because of the sort of the short kind of space there is in that top cap, I think what's happening as the air comes up is deflected off these this kind of corner edge to some degree, and sort of encapsulates the coil as is. So I think that's what's preventing the coil from getting too hot. But that's only my kind of thoughts on that one. Obviously, I'm no wind expert, and you would think that the air would go just directly straight up the cap, but it seems to work. It does seem to work. And what I've done with this coil is this a little Clapton that I stuck in, but this is only a 2.5 mil ID. Most of the coils that I've used in here have been 3 mil IDs, but I wanted to put the 2.5 in there, first of all to check the sort of how quickly it wicks, but second of all to see if that sort of smaller ID caused any problem when it came to, you know, the coil keeping cool enough to not burn the cotton. And I'm pleased to say it doesn't have any issues whatsoever. Now the only issue that well, it's not really an issue, but the only kind of potential pain is the fact that you've got the side holes on the posts here rather than kind of going straight through the middle. Now I can kind of see why that is, because of the nubbins. Obviously if you've got a big hole going through there, there's going to be a slight issue with the nubbin going on there, but it does mean that you have to just kind of have a few practice runs getting your coil in there. All I've done is basically I've had my coil legs coming out, I've put a 90-degree bend in there, and then I've kind of twisted it in, and it's gone in absolutely fine and dandy. So just takes a little bit of practice, but everyone's a winner. No problems with the flathead screws on the top. They've worked out brilliantly, which I've been more than happy with using. So very pleased to say that I think all in all this is just a really well built and well thought out little RDA. I think it works brilliantly. I think that you do lose a little bit of flavour because you're not having air going under the coil or directly at the coil. However, I think because of the positioning, and if we pop this cap back on here, we can have a little look, see that you can see the coil more than happily in there. So not only can you see the sort of the state of your wick nice and easily, but you can see kind of what's going on squonk wise, but you get that all of that lovely flavour coming off the coil straight away. So all in all, I think that for essentially an unknown company coming across with Bombertech, or Bombertech being an unknown company, excuse me, I think as their first little RDA, this is an absolute little corker, and it's been performing really, really well. Like I say, I think we could develop this airflow a little bit to be a little bit more kind of relevant to where the coil is placed. However, you could change that by putting your coil really far over one area if you wanted to, but that idea of building hasn't been on my agenda, to be honest with you. I think it's just, doesn't it look cool? And if I pop it on top of this, this is the little M-Vapes little squonk box. Look at it though. Look at it. Look how sexy that little setup looks. Been more than happy with this. Anyway, right, let's go up top and give you my final thoughts. Alright, so that was the up close and personal with the little Firefly, and I think it really is a little corker, I really do. As we saw, the stop on the cap makes it sort of putting it on and off mods nice and easy. The airflow is just really, really surprising. If I close that right down, while it's not tight mouth to lung kind of airflow, I think I've over squonked a little bit there, but it is a restricted lung hit. Now, I've been rocking this generally about half open, half closed, and it kind of gives a little airflow like this. Which is more than enough, really. I've been loving using this Ultem cap. Well, they call it PEI, but I believe PEI is Ultem. Because it really does a grand job of not letting the heat get up into your lips, which I think is brilliant. Excuse me. Now I'm going to open it fully wide open for the moment, and it really is a surprising amount of airflow you've got available there. It really, really is. Not very much restriction in there whatsoever, so it really is going to boil down to how you build your coils with regards to how much vapor you're going to get out of that bad boy, and also if you're going to use it on like this, which is an unregulated mechanical squonker, or whether you're going to put it on a regulated squonker or regulated regular device. Obviously I've got it in squonk mode at the moment, however the extra 510 means that you can have it for regular mods as well. I can't talk. So all in all, I think it's a little corker. I think the lack of undercoil air does mean that we lose out on a little bit of flavour, but due to the fact that the top cap is really short and squat, I think when that air does come up, it kind of is forced to go around the coil, so you do get still a pretty reasonable flavour. Plus, your mouth is directly over the top of that coil, so you get the nice warm vape if that's what you're looking for, depending on how you build, of course. But all in all, I think it's a pretty good quality little vape. I don't think there was any requirement for the logo to be up on the mouthpiece that we saw in the up close. But all in all, only because it's something that I'll keep looking at and go, well, it's a funny place to put a logo. But I've not had any requirement to use the extra drip tips that come with it. But just for shits and giggles, let's stick one in while we're doing this. Where's? Can I get it with fingers? No fingernails. Come on, where are we? Pliers? Have we got any pliers? It's all about the preparation, you know. That's what makes it makes you a successful reviewer. Right, let's pop in this little white one in there for the moment. So we've got the little white cap on the top there. Doesn't really make any difference to my vaping experience, to be honest with you, but if you're going down, if you are going to restrict that airflow a little bit, then having a slightly thinner a thinner air hole at the top there may float your boat if that's your thing. Plus it does add an extra couple of mil distance between you and the coil. So all in all, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a little corker. I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys come up with. I did try something that they're coming up with or releasing in the not too distant future, I understand, at the show, which is a little squat little sort of Jenny style tank with a really cool little way of filling it. But let's stick on point and talking about the Firefly. I think for the money, I think it's really well made. I think the flavour is not bad at all. but a little bit diluted because of the air. I think cost-wise, I think it's really good, and I just think it's I love the fact that there's a stop on the cap. You can put a whole bunch of different builds in. Can be a little bit awkward to get used to building because you are bending sort of your coil legs around the posts. So it may have been nice to have seen the post holes going kind of straight through rather than side entry, if you like. But no, I mean, because of the stop on the cap, I guess that wasn't really an option. So all in all, up to you, ladies and gentlemen, but I think it's a little corker. I think it looks great. It performs pretty darn well. And yeah, I'm a big fan. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Dean the Vaping Biker. This has been the Firefly RDA from Bombertech, and all the links will be down below. If you like this review, click on the like button. I realised I don't really ask people to click on that, so click on the like button and hit subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Have it very, very large.